Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.co's daily brief, soon to be.com. Waiting on the boys. Gonna give us a new website. When's it coming? When do we get to the fireworks factory? And of course, good morning to everybody. I see we got a nice full room here this morning. And Benjamin, I had a few people requesting for your alt index that you built on TradingView. I wonder if maybe you could throw a link to that script that you put together in the lounge. I wouldn't mind bookmarking that. I just see you down there. Oh, there you are, you scholar and gentleman. So I just saw you down there, and just off the top of my head. But anyway, good morning. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We've got Mr. Bear in the house, and if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Bear's having a lot of fun in the market this morning. But how are you, sir? I see you have your mute on, so I don't know. It looks like he's wrapped up and looking at that's an interesting Twitter page he has.
That's my self-portrait. That's my wedding picture.
Okay. Anyway, good morning, sir. How are you today?
Very well. How are you?
Excellent, thanks. I had a bit of a funny night. Maybe I was having premonitions about Tuesday, Wednesday London kill zones last night, and what I thought was so cool, and I call me crazy, but I see that I've been sort of obsessed. This last week we've been working with Gann angles, and been working on sort of advanced studies for the level 2ers in their Gann studies. This is the chart I wanted to show you. These were the Gann angles that we had on the screen for yesterday's video. And I do remember specifically we talked to our audience about how we were coming into resistance levels, and I was curious how 13 EMA was going to act here on the dailies. Everybody on the site should have just gotten a big old lesson last night in the power of Tuesday, Wednesday London kill zones. That's as formations go, we often talk about how, what's the hallmark of actually I should probably be showing my screen, eh? What a doofus. One of these days I'll get this thing right, but hopefully you can see my screen now. Yeah, I know, Bob. I got it there now. We're looking at Thomas's bear picture. Yeah, I know, Andrew. I got on the right screen now. But we talk about the hallmarks of bulls, the hallmarks of bears. The fact that we went to a new low here and V bottom straight off the lows should have been a bit of a warning sign to us that that's not very sustainable. And then coming back from the holiday session, wow, what a beautiful, who can tell me what this looks like? This should just like jump out at everybody on the site here. They should go, damn, that's thank you very much, Kevin. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Excellent. Everybody's seen that. And I mean, look at these crazy Gann levels. Look how that's set up right off his goddamn level. It just pisses you off when you see this stuff. The day traders group, they had a tough session this morning, and this is exactly what a day trader's life is sometimes like. Remember those day traders, those pit traders, they only looking for 60, 70% accuracy, which means they're going to get stopped out a good chunk of the time. And I did see quite a few of the day trader group were hunting long setups in here. But if anything, guys, this should have been an excellent testament. We should have looked at this market structure and went, oh, gee whiz, Tuesday, Wednesday, London kill zone, 38.2 fail. Williams percentage R fell out of bed right here, setting up basically the Ray barbecue short, and down she goes. I think if anything, through the New York kill zone this morning, we set up a bot continuation trade. And you can see good old botters, they just got paid. So tough trading. Not going to say it's easy. I am going to say that the whole reason why we put that day trader group together is you have to get in there and log and journal this shit every single day. And you've got to learn from what happened here overnight. You got to journal. And Jacob, I want to see journal references. Gee whiz, that was a Tuesday, Wednesday London kill zone. I want to hear talk about Thomas was saying that we're running into resistance up top. if I'm not mistaken, and Brian's referenced again and 13 EMA resistance. We also, I think there's a really, really important lesson here for everybody. And that is that tweet that we put out there the other day. And Thomas even explicitly warned you about this yesterday, in that you can't go chasing green candles. You go chasing green candles, and it's this kind of life, right? We talked about this, I think, even a few days now. This is the kind of market that I think we're in right now. Whoa, bam! And I think that's exactly what happened to the crypto market overnight. When I look at my charts right across the board, yes, these fractals fired, but a lot of them just went way too far, too fast. And sort of, the adults officially came back to work yesterday. And it looks to me like they set up the short trade through the London kill zone last night. My thoughts about bottoms, been watching this Japanese market very closely. And when I saw this morning, I was literally gobsmacked. Couldn't really justify chasing this. In essence, this wick and tail defined the range, and in essence we rallied right back up to the top end of the range, and then through that London kill zone last night they just whacked her back down. So we can't even really say that we even have a bottom working here yet. We're still trying to find that bottom. And what I thought was really interesting was, you guys remember on the weekend we showed you this 3 drives pattern. 1, 2, 3, and how was this going to play out? And I specifically remember telling you guys, there's no freaking way the New York boys and the London boys and the institution boys were going to allow this thing to take off here without giving them the opportunity to get in if this is the bottom. So I have a funny feeling that's sort of what's going on right now. We're going to find out whether this is the bottom here very shortly. And if anything, I saw Andrew was commenting in the lounge this morning, and if you look at the levels, they're starting to make sense. If we start getting signs of health down here, we've hit these bearish objectives. We start getting signs of divergence, signs of structure. You notice that we're off a trend line here. We've come back down into reload zones, so you can almost see that the institutional players are setting this up here. So now, if you are interested in the long side, now is when we want to get our spidey senses really going. But, this is the market. There's no guarantees of anything whatsoever here. And I think our general cautionary comments of late, I think we're spot on. We're not quite through the bottom just yet, guys. If anything, I really like this chart I put together recently. I like using these triangles to highlight the trend line sort of zones. And it sure feels like, whether you use Tether, Phoenix, Stamp, doesn't really matter. This primary trend line off of this market structure, actually this market structure failure, and then this secondary trend line, I think that really defines our range for the time being. So I could very easily see us just sort of play around in this zone here for a little while now. So that's sort of what I'm seeing right now, guys. If I'm not mistaken, the bears, I don't know whether you want to talk about positions that you have on, but we were sort of anecdotally talking about tops coming in on OKCoin, and I seem to remember you suggesting that you were going to be thinking about hunting shorts up top, eh? Are you there, Mr. Bear? Mr. Bear still got his Twitter page on.
I should change that. All right, bye-bye. So yeah, last night I think I posted in the lounge, I think it was Bugra asked me if I had any trades working, and I told him I was short from 74.9 something. And that was a trade that I took up at the top here, which corresponded to this new setup that I'm working on that's not quite finished yet, but soon I'll be able to present that once I get the bugs ironed out of it. But what happened was, obviously you could take this trade from the head and shoulders that Brian was showing, and you could also take it from the M that showed up here. But I wanted to make sure that I captured the top of this move. I mean, we were oversold for a really, really long time on the hourly and the 4 hour as well. So when that happens, Excuse, I always mix those two up. Overbought. Thank you. And that condition usually indicates to me that we're not going to be zooming up higher much beyond what we're slowly stair-stepping higher into. And I didn't have any long trades through that, but I was hunting shorts. And sure enough, this came in. We talked about this yesterday. So many of these divergences were coming in, but none of them were verifying yet. And it was just a matter of time until it did come in. And it just wanted to set up as a head and shoulders. The trade did only come in on the hourly. It did not show up on the 4-hour, which is curious because the 4-hour is showing a divergence, but the platform on OKCoin itself is not showing a divergence. So I'm not really sure what's going on with their trading platform still, but we do see on occasion the TradingView data differ directly from OKCoin. So for anyone who is trading OKCoin, make sure that you're trading based on the indicator data that they have on their site. That's you want to go direct to the horse's mouth, so to speak, for that.
Does the OKCoin chart? I haven't gone on the platform since their brain fuck here. But are their charts showing the same chart as TradingView? Like, did they put in that big candle there now, or is it still a hole?
Hang on a second. Let me see. They are putting in that big candle. They didn't erase that either, but it looks different than it does on TradingView, actually. Let me see if I can take a screenshot of this and show that.
Just for me, a guy like me, as long as this chart looks a mess, I'm just leaving OKCoin alone for now. I appreciate Thomas got a trade. Traders got a trade. So, no fucking around. But for me, lazy bastard, little slower paced, I gotta leave this thing alone until it cleans itself up.
Yeah, so did this trade come in across any of the other platforms like Finex or BitMEX? Do you follow those at all?
Well, Jacob wanted to concentrate on Finex, so we've been watching Finex, and frankly speaking, I think the most beautiful Ray barbecue trade came in on Finex. It was just textbook. It was difficult though, you had to be able to go short at about 7,200 or so and risk up to 75. So you had to be able to handle 5. You could maybe even just taken this little M up here. But total 38.2 failure, which was the head and shoulders. And you had the Williams percentage R breaking down ahead of that event. So it did set up on Finex, but as I said, with the way OKCoin's price data and charts are all a mess, right now I'm handcuffed, and it's just Brian. I'm a weirdo that way. So
yeah, so I've got on my screen the chart from OK Exchange, where you can see to the left of the screen around March 30th, you just see those red dashes for candles. That's what they're showing on the 1 hour, and you can see on the TradingView data that it looks different here.
Wow, so they don't even show it going down to 4,500 there?
No, they don't, because they paused and rolled back trading, which is interesting because the TradingView API picked up on that, whereas now they're broadcasting that it never happened on OKCoin. So TradingView's picking up on old data, and I guess they probably don't go back and refresh much beyond a certain time frame.
Yeah.
So this is what OK Exchange is showing.
250 as a key pivot, eh? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I can see the bear div and the MACD histogram there. It's beautiful. It's just absolutely textbook. Also, too, can everybody see the bulls falling asleep? Beautiful example of the bulls falling asleep there. Just absolutely textbook.
Yeah, it's incredible. This trade came in at 3:30 to 4 o'clock, this failure here in the morning. And that's exactly, 8:30 to 9 o'clock London time. So as always, markets pivot around London kill zone. And this is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, well, and especially so because after the holiday weekend, and seriously, like Jacob, if you're watching this, you got to learn this shit, right? We had a holiday weekend, so we all should have been like, okay, they fucked around with the market through the weekend. How do the big boys position themselves? There is no way they were going to let this market just go straight up without the New York boys getting in. And frankly speaking, and as I had said earlier, Andrew posted this in the lounge. I actually think that they're backing this up into a trade window for them. Whether the trade's here right now, I think maybe it's a little bit early, but nonetheless, I do think, if you can see my screen, the bot trade setup trend continuation, it's hit its target, and that was right into the reload zone. So I get, and look left, right? There's that crazy candle that made the V bottom low. We're now finally coming into these supports. If we lose this level, this is all open air down in here. So I think it was just a really, really good lesson, a hard lesson for new people to trading to learn that we don't chase up markets, and those lows should be tested. And there was no way, if anything, I think the message of the day is there was no way the New York boys were going to let Bitcoin take off without that giving them the opportunity to get in where you're supposed to be long. Anyway, that's just
totally. Yeah, so I guess the question is, where do I see price going from here? And you can see that, this is great. This is just a perfect testament to how Fibonacci retracement levels work. You can see the initial break of the M here, and it was a pretty sharp sell-off right into Ray Barbecue, and we spent about 5 hours or so consolidating around that. So that's our first test, and the first test said, "Thou shalt not go higher." And then we dumped right in the very tail end of the New York kill zone around 10 o'clock in the morning. And now we're testing the mountain man level. I generally like to see a bounce in this area. I really do like to see short-term bounces retest these moving average crosses. So we may get another opportunity to get in on this trade short. But I would say that trade short will bring us down into this reload zone. And my guess, right, this is just a guess and opinion, that we will hit the 78.6 area, consolidate, and then continue to retest higher if that comes in. So that's a big if, but that's what we're seeing, and that's what I'm personally seeing here. I'm going to be taking partial profits if we can get down to Mountain Man. It looks like someone is defending that area, or at least keeping it from going down to tag that at this moment now, which could very well change at any moment. So that's my target. That's my final target, where I'm going to be closing most of my position, and then I'll be switching to hunting longs, because you can see on the volume profile that we've got a little bit of action that needs to be filled in. If you zoom out, you can see that there's some necessary there's a notch here at 7,600, and sure enough, there's also some attention that needs down in the 78.6 area. So lots of range trading in this area for now, which I like. Range traders should be able to make money in this market, and this is kind of this is my bread and butter here. These are easy trades for me to take.
Cool. All right. Do we want to look at any of the little ones? How's your Litecoin looking these days? Had a pretty violent bounce off the lows there.
Yeah, so there was news that came out, in which I don't understand why it's news again, because we had covered it before, and that's the Abra platform. Anyone that remembers our broadcast, Abra is a kind of like another cell phone app that lets you buy and sell cryptocurrencies directly from your bank account, or using, and this is a first in the industry, using American Express to buy directly into crypto. There was an article that came out yesterday that basically said that this is a game changer because they're going to be using Litecoin as their platform for smart contracts. So that news in of itself drove Litecoin higher, which is nonsense, because that information, like we said prior, was available weeks ago. I think that Litecoin just wanted a reason to rally, and the Bitcoin media picked up on that. And that went from 118 or so and change on Sunday and Monday. And we launched to 132, I believe, at the high. Let me see if I can bring up a chart here. But now you can see, because of the Bitcoin sell-off, again, Bitcoin is leading the pack here. We usually like to see Litecoin leading, but that doesn't seem to be holding true at the present moment, mainly because Bitcoin is dictating the general direction of all these markets. So Bitcoin, or Litecoin, has since traded back to the 118 handle, which we're seeing today. And you can see the chart and the railroad tracks look similar to what's going on in Bitcoin. This isn't great. I will trade railroad tracks slightly different than most other people. I like to see 3 railroad tracks, and that dictates the trend. So if we can see this third candle, I mean, obviously this needs to close as a railroad track. This is today's action. And if tomorrow's action brings us right back up to the top here, that to me is a bullish railroad track, which is slightly different than I believe you've been teaching the course, Brian. Is that right?
Well, I would just simply, again, assuming that we finish here, I would just simply assume that this is now established as a very firm, here, I'll show my chart. This has established itself as a very firm trading range. Now, you might get some fuckery around the highs and lows, especially, and you can see they're already bringing it off the lows. But if we can finish down, then in essence, a break below this low, whatever it is going to suggest that the railroad tracks resolve bearish. And a move above here will resolve bullish. Actually, on the day traders group, we had a really, really good example of this, but this is very difficult. And we even acknowledged in the Telegram group this morning that this is very advanced. But for those people that were considering the longs through the New York kill zone, they painted a pretty nice W. If anything, this, because this was, it developed kind of in no man's land here. Reload zones down here, 38.2 fail, structure, head and shoulders, we're heading down. If anything, we probably should have looked at this and gone, geez, that's a terrible location to consider longs. But it looks to me like they, somebody was asking in the level ones, do they paint the tape? Do they actually manufacture price action to try and screw over the public? And I would argue that all of this action was to sort of convince the public that this was a bottom, and on the New York Open, convince everybody to go long, but it was a liquidity trap. They were just setting a bunch of levels to go after stops. But here's a fantastic example of railroad tracks in a very short-term basis. What do you think of those? Big up, bam, see you later, down. I mean, that's like textbook railroad tracks there. So that's sort of the textbook definition. Does it make sense that fail of that low there is a sell signal? I don't know if you can see that or not. It's a tough one. I'm not going to say this was easy this morning. This was a difficult one.
Yeah, Brian, do you mind switching that to a 15-minute chart?
Let's see what that produced. Ooh, that produced tweezers, really nasty. In fact, this would be like our empire here. But as I said just a moment ago, it felt like, and unfortunately, I'm not quite sure why, but I had a very screwy night last night, so I wasn't participating in the kill zone setup this morning. And when I got up, I saw what happened, and I go, oh yeah. But if anything, this is a really, really good lesson for all of the day traders, and this is why you got to take this setup. To learn from this, right? Now, all of you, everybody in the day trader group, I don't expect you to be spending money right now. I expect you to be hunting these setups and journaling, logging, and learning from this. This is a really good lesson this morning. A lot, and frankly speaking, I was even talking to the boys. I was saying, you know what, this is a perfectly fine fail. If you stock this double bottom and you were like, hey, I got divergences working, I'm feeling like the market wants to head higher, and I take this double bottom and I'm going to risk against here, and I entered when I was supposed to, and I got stopped out when I was supposed to, I actually consider that a perfectly good, perfectly valid setup. It's not a demon finder setup. I identified a setup, I took the trade, and I got stopped out. Shit happens. Next bus in 10 minutes. When, given the broader context, London kill zones, trend established, maybe we should be hunting shorts. I think we can learn from it. But really, I don't have a problem if new people to trading who are trying to learn how, the liquidity event, kill zones. I don't have a problem them taking this trade. I do think, though, for the more professionals, you had a signal there that this trade was in trouble, and on this railroad tracks, hindsight's always 20/20. But had I been thinking about this W in here, I would have been getting really scared shitless on this little candle right in here. But as I said, hindsight's always 2020. If anything, I don't have a problem with all the day traders said, oh, I got stopped. I obeyed my stop. I followed my trading plan. Remember, we used to always say, Eddie used to always say, there's no such thing as a bad trade. I mean, we can always learn from this. There's lots of actually really good market information about this failed double bottom here this morning. And also, too, the fail in itself should also tell us information about the market as well. This is not a bull market right now. It's a very unhappy market. Anyway, all right. So do we want to look at any of these straight up, straight down coins this morning, or is just the general message, hey, we got to wait for the W's to come in?
I mean, this is just the same thing that keeps happening over and over again. The market, Bitcoin bottoms temporarily for the day. Everyone gets super excited. Coins start looking like they're turning upward, and then
bam,
Bitcoin goes down, and then, it's like whack-a-mole.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
So, and if anything, guys, use this time to learn from this. How do bear markets act? Market won't always be bear, but we're definitely in a very specific market state right now.
Yeah, there are exceptions to some coins that are running up. I know we already covered Verge yesterday, but this one ended up still going higher after the end of yesterday's broadcast. This one looks more bullish than most of the other ones. You can see that this is breaking above previous resistance areas. So there's got to be some fundamental driver behind this, which I'm not aware of or haven't looked into yet. Other names that are still moving higher, I think we should probably check on, what was the coin that BitThumb was crazy about? It wasn't Icon, it was the other one that they were listing. Crap, what was it?
VeChain?
Yes, thank you, VeChain. So let's see how that's doing today. VeChain is down 7%. So it looks like that one is not immune, and this one looks like it's putting in a bit of a funky looking top. So another example of a don't go chasing green candles. And of course, this one did not have a nice W come in. But, this could always come in here. The problem is we're consolidating around 61.8. And as Brian said, he doesn't like to be buying in these areas. And you can see the volume profile looks pretty anemic down below.
78.6. And remember that 88.6 tail there. I think that's where she needs to go back down to. But
yeah.
Only time will tell. This, if anything, is really dangerous. Like if you look at my screen, I do like the idea of the falling wedge here. So, if you see some sort of massive surge and you actually have a W to work with, it might actually set up like a Leanne James setup. But this isn't the kind of name that I could touch. It's just ugly.
Yeah, there's
just a quick comment. Somebody mentioned on the YouTube that Verge is supposed to have a big announcement on the 16th. And I'm sharing Thomas's screen, or am I sharing Brian's screen? Jeez, I can't remember.
You got mine up right now.
I think there is that chart that I'm talking about. Hopefully everybody can see, like, wow, oh boy, this is, look left. Ugh. This thing loses its lunch. Be careful here, guys.
Here's one that I'm watching. I'm watching this Wabi that's on Binance.
Ooh, that looks interesting. Look at that. That's a pretty chart.
Yeah, today's price action brought us all the way almost to breaching the neckline here. This verifies this is a great trade to watch. Of course, these bands, I'm using Bollinger Bands now, full disclosure, and these bands have not opened up yet. And in order for them to do so, we're going to need to put in this W, and that's going to be a really strong signal for me to go long this name. The internals, let's see what those look like. I mean, they're okay. You do have this really long-standing bullish divergence working, which verified here, but is still kind of playing out. I'd love to see this thing jump higher. And Volume is
I'd get a
breaking
buy
up.
signal on the bands there if we just close on above that band. You close above that top of that band, and that's a squeeze breakout. In fact, that would be a really good one to tweet out to John. Say, hey, John, is this a name you'd consider if the market can close above the top of the band here?
All right, I got it covered.
But if I'm not mistaken, you can put on like TradingView and stuff. You could put on an indicator, the Bollinger Band widths, and what you should be able to do is see the compression in the Bollinger Band here. Let's see if I can put that on my screen. We'll just do a new one. So actually, it's kind of funny. Over the past couple of days, we're doing like a total Bollinger Band tutorial here, right? Bollinger Band, whatever. Yeah, so you can do the bands, but you can also do the band widths. And what's the name of that? What was that coin that you're looking at again? Wabi.
Wabi. WABI.
All right. So if we go throw that on there, WABI. And I think somebody said that they were. Oh yeah, look at that. So can you see the actual Bollinger Band width? Like this is what we talk about the squeeze, right? Can you see how volatility is pretty high? Like look how wide the bands are here, right? Just insane, way up here. But look how it's come down here, and it's just flatlining. And you can actually see cute little W coming in here on the Bollinger Band widths. So, that's the kind of thing, we want to look for, structural signals coming out of here. I think if anything, a cute little double bottom there. So, I could definitely see John say, wow, look at this divergence. It's developed all the way along here. So cute story. And you're also getting volume confirming that. That's a really interesting little idea there, Thomas.
Yep, it's on my watch list. I've got a couple of those. So what am I'm composing this tweet to Bollinger right now. So we're going to ask him, would you go long on an opening of the Bollinger Bands here?
Well, a couple things that I'd mention is that the volatility in the prices come out. So the bands are squeezing. All TRIers should be able to see the W. So I think if anything, you're going to get confirmation of the W and the shift in the trend if the market can close right up here, which would be a close above the top band. So I don't know. I'm just sort of talking on my ass if you want to chat with him, but that's a really interesting example of John's work. As it is right now, it looks like the market wanted to and got bitch slapped back down. So what happened on the hourly chart? And is this just a function of Jesus? How long ago did that happen? That happened like 10 minutes ago. Wow, look at that, eh? So this just literally happened over the past hour. Really, what the hell just drove this? What is this? This is 10, 20, 30 minutes ago. This happened in the past 30 minutes. Like you were showing that Verge chart earlier. I'm a little worried if you look at that Verge, it's painting an inside bar. If we look at that, just quickly looking at that Verge chart. What the hell is it? One of these. Here it is. I'm a little concerned, too far, too fast. Can everybody see the inside bar that's potentially forming here? So if this inside bar fires on Verge, then I think we got to come right back down to the bottom here. So looking at your idea off of the hourlies, you can see that inside bar there fired, and they're working the market back down. And I guess our thesis here of the breakout is predicated on them actually negating that short-term fail and actually ratcheting this thing up through the top here. So, and actually it's interesting. We put that inside bar fail level on there. Look how that's lining up right with the top of the band here on the dailies. So clearly the market has to go and break that inside bar failure for this thing to be real here today. And that's not even hourly. That's like a 10-minute chart, eh? Right there. So something popped this thing, and then all the bears just jumped in and just sold the shit out of this thing on that pop. Was there some sort of news release or something there?
Not that I was looking at, no.
Okay. All right. I'll look forward to that tweet. I think this is kind of a cool application of the Bollinger Band thesis. Can everybody see the breakout here? You see, this is now looking at the hourly chart here. Oh, guys, look, here's a perfect example of the squeeze. Can you guys see the squeeze over? Oh, actually, I'm sharing the wrong damn screen. Jesus, I hate when I do that. So everybody can see the squeeze on the left-hand side of my squeeze, my chart.
On my squeeze?
Left-hand side of my squeeze. And the breakout, right? And the confirmation close above the top band here. And you can see nice little W coming in on the, the widths of the bands, nice and low. And look how low. You can see the squeeze. That one was a failed breakout. Low again. Look at that squeeze. Oh, my goodness. Can you see that, Thomas?
So
Beautiful.
squeezy.
Right, and now we've got this really big wide W again, and off of the hourly charts, let's see whether this thing can actually break out and close above the top band here. So I love that. If I was going to use Bollinger Bands, the squeeze is the key, right? That's where volatility comes out of the price and where you get usually your best signals.
Yeah, here's another name that I've been watching, and that's because this one's been in the headlines quite often the last couple of days, and that's EOS. EOS has been mentioned that Tesla will be putting their cars on the EOS blockchain.
Wow! All right.
So this has been driven higher, bounced off of 61.8, and we're stair-stepping higher, confirming W's as we continue to do so. And you can see that the 13 EMA here is providing support. I think we're a little too late to be buyers here. I'd really like this.
Wow.
Is that you, Brian?
It's not me.
Someone snuffleupagussing in the background.
Somebody's got a honker. Who's got their microphone on? I can't even see.
I think the meow had a runny nose there.
Oh, is that from Mr. Meow?
Yeah, I believe. Looks like it. Anyway.
Silly boy. No, that's Big Brother. The NSA has caught a cold. All right. Yeah, I would be really careful on that one there. We're right up at the top of value there. If anything, it'd be cool to do a fib going off of these lows back up to the high. That to me totally looks like 38.2. No, going up off the previous high.
I see.
Yeah, all the way back up top. Yeah, there you go.
I know how to use these, I swear.
Yeah, and just flip it around now.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so this is kind of no man's land here, guys. Be careful.
But it's a barbecue setup, right? If this makes a W here, then we've got clear sailing up to 61.
Can you throw a Williams percentage R on there?
We're pretty oversold here.
That's Willie, I suppose, eh?
Yeah, you don't like using the Willie instead of, you like Williams percent R now, huh?
Well, for the Ray barbecue setup, yeah. I mean, Ray couldn't give a flying fuck about my Willie indicator. So
yeah, this is also a divergence too. The internals don't look so odd.
Yeah, yeah, I just noticed that. And also too, look at the bulls, right? You can see the bulls.
They go night
there. So be careful. If anything, do a fib going back down against the lows, and you could probably find interesting trade location there.
I hate to go back to Bitcoin, but the day traders may have a 30-minute setup developing on their hands here.
Could be.
I like what we're seeing here.
Divergence is trying to come in here, eh? And remember, I gotta hand it to Andrew. Andrew's a fucking smartass son of a bitch. He was saying in the lounge this morning, 6,700 area, I'm gonna get really interested. So hats off to Andrew. You can see my screen. I can see what happened here. those people that were playing short, they sure better take profits. And you can also see a bit of a divergence coming in here. They just on our simple RSI, boobity boo, boobity boo. I don't know whether this would be enough for me to justify a long, but you know, very clearly, if you were a bear, you better have been taking profits there this morning. So if anything, that's encouraging, because what it tells me is this is really just business as usual. I don't think Bitcoin's falling apart here. I just honestly think there was no fucking way the New York boys were going to allow this thing to take off without giving them the opportunity to get in where they were supposed
to. Yep. All right. So shall we?
Do you notice as Bitcoin's coming back here, your Wabi's catching a bit again, eh? Remember, there's that fail level. Look how we're jumping back up here. So this is a really, really good commentary, guys. Pick your ideas, pick your levels. This guy's clearly in play. And then as the sort of broader market, you know, like the level oneers, we turned out, we've got, you know, like CanSlim. We were talking about this. What does the M stand for in CanSlim? It stands for friendly market. Here is a perfectly similar analogy. So, you know, if you were hunting longs, if you were like, okay, I'm sharpshooting, this guy's in play, when do you start getting jazzed and hunting those longs? When you start seeing Bitcoin actually coming down into levels and starting to show signs that, hey, you know, it looks like the worst is behind us. Now this thing can start saying, all right, let's rock and roll, and let's see where we can take this thing. Look at the volatility in this thing, just up and down like a horse drawers. Somebody, I think, posted William or Will posted Wabi News today. What do we got here? The first quarter is kind of scale. Williams kind of moving ahead full steam. And this week's update will focus on Q1 goals. Please spread it. Okay, so if you want to get sort of an update of what these guys are doing, and frankly speaking, you know, I look at this daily price chart and I should shut the fuck up and go and grab some. Look at that volume breakout, man. I mean, Jesus, volume speaks volumes. This is really interesting. You know what? I think I'm just going to go buy some at this thing W's here at 1220 there. Did we get up through that high? 1200. Ah, yeah, totally. I'm going to just go buy some here if this thing breaks at 1220.
Cool.
You know, if it's one thing you can absolutely depend on, guys, Brian eats his own cooking. And if I like W's, I see W's, I'm going to be in there buying. So anyway, all right. So while I'm sort of preoccupied getting this order ready, is there anything else you want to show the good people here today?
I guess I'll just keep launching out names. This one's not quite as juicy as Wabi, but I like the look of this request network. This one still has a ways to go to confirm a bottom, but we are consolidating around 78.6, and you've got this long divergence working.
Okay, hold on a second. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, there's your screen. Okay, all right, yep. So this is REQ.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I'm doing here, this is no magic rocket science, guys. I'm just looking for coins that have taken off over the last couple of weeks and have come back down into their original level and keeping an eye on them. As these continue to put in better indicators and better internals, I get more and more interested and move them up my priority list. This one is in the middle of the priority list just because it's not as cute as the Wabi, but just another one to be watching for this. This, I believe, is on Binance. Am I right? Yeah, this is on Binance. Let's see what else we got here. Guess we're just going to be doing an altcoin show today, huh?
Well, we've been chit-chatting away for about 50 minutes here, so I think we did a pretty good summary of Bitcoin.
Yeah, here's this Lunar. Lunar's got its volume breakout and another consolidator around 78.6. Again, have to wait for the W, but another one that I really like here.
You know, the further comment on this Wabi, I see this a lot, and this is the reason why I like using the 78.6. Completely understand there's going to be guys like Ian who are hunting 88.6 just for their insanely sick levels. But do you see what's happening here? I see this a lot in venture capital. We'll come down, You can see where the reload zone is, right? We lose the bottom of the reload zone, but what ends up ultimately happening is the market puts in a bottom, and if this is a bull, it's going to accept back on that line in the sand level. I see this repeatedly year after year after year. So really good anecdote on the significance of the line in the sand. And if the market can recapture that line in the sand, super, super powerful level. And that, I'm not saying it's going to. You can see she's waffling here, but I wouldn't have a problem placing a buy on stop at 12,201. Right now sitting at 10,141, so it's not there yet. But let's see how this develops through the day. Sorry, didn't mean to go backwards there.
That's okay. You go. You're gonna enter your order.
Well, I'll throw it on the screen just so I have it right in front of me, and
okay.
I'll. If anything, what we should probably do is put the alerts on. And I've noticed this too, guys. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, but if you put an alert and then all of a sudden it takes off, you never see it." I often see that I'll let the market break out, put my alerts go off, put my order in at that level, and then an hour or two later, boom, I get my fill, and it's like Merry Christmas. So I'm not really in a big hurry here, but I definitely do like this level. And so I'm very interested. And, that's half the reason why I do these daily briefs is I want you guys to give me ideas.
So did anyone by any chance try to log into Binance today and notice that they were getting denied access? Anyone doesn't mind commenting in YouTube or in the lounge, whichever. Brian, did you try to log into Binance at all today?
I just did a second ago, and everything went fine there.
Okay, yeah, evidently they've restored access as of now. Everyone seems to be commenting that they've mostly been able to get in. But this story broke, it looks like kind of like early morning East Coast time. So maybe people weren't awake yet, but yeah, so they're claiming that they were launching a new coin called, I'm not even going to pronounce it, GRS. And this article is basically saying that people were very upset that they were launching this coin on their platform. So they took to social media to voice their negativity. And then the article continues to talk about how people were having issues logging in. They were having trouble with withdrawals. And if you had tried to log in more than 3 times, your account gets locked temporarily. So CZ, the guy who runs Binance, publicly tweeted saying that they missed a bug that went into production today, causing the database load issues that took about 30 to 60 minutes to fix, and just told everyone to chill out and everything will be restored back to normal. So I'm glad to see that they were able to do all of that and restore withdrawals. So everything was fine, but I can see how in the past with all these issues of Binance, people would be freaking out and maybe could have been responsible for the short-term dump that we saw across the board here on the altcoins. But just the FUD like this, it would be nice if things like this didn't happen, especially with Binance and given their past with stuff like this. So I just was curious as to whether or not the community had any issues. So I'm glad to see that they didn't. So we can move on to the flippening has happened. So anyone that knows what the flippening is, that's when Ethereum takes over Bitcoin. And it's a little bit of a misleading statement because the only way that this had happened was in India, and that is with search terms. So this article states that searches for Bitcoin represented 29.9% of all searches, whereas Ethereum accounted for 34.4%. And funny enough, the next popular currency was this NEM, or New Economy Movement. I believe they're calling it Bayou Coin, but the symbol is NEM. And then following that is Dash, Neo, Litecoin, Ripple, and Monero. So you can see that India has a slightly different viewpoint on what is popular than the rest of the.
I wonder how if that was affected by Vitalik's bomb that he dropped yesterday.
Oh, when he at the South Korea conference when he called Craig Wright a fraud.
That was fucking hilarious, man. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, if no one has seen this video, it's definitely worth a watch. I think it's less than 2 minutes long, but
It's just sick. I couldn't believe it.
I mean, I don't really know why this guy was even speaking in the first place.
Yeah, how does this guy weasel his way in? Nobody in the industry likes him. I don't quite understand how this guy weasels his way into this stuff.
Well, they're saying it's because he's got a bunch of patent filings and he's got control over some of the technology because of this, but he really has no place in the public spotlight, just like Roger Ver.
So I don't know whether it'd be interesting to look at the trends in Ethereum, or whether that was just like, holy shit, who is this Vitalik guy to go and do that? Which I thought was just hilarious. And Bitquin, one of our level oneers, she's actually at the conference, and she was she actually recorded it on her cell phone, and I think I put that out on the CRI tweet stream. But it was just priceless. I mean, my old saying, you cannot write better fiction than reality. I mean, that was absolutely perfect. You just and the only person in this space, the only person other than maybe Satoshi himself, the only person who could pull this off was Vitalik, right? Anybody else who'd be like, you're a fraud, right? And he'd be like, fuck you. But the only person in the world who could do this was him. So here's the clip right here. I don't know whether we're getting in trouble for playing it.
Show your screen. There you go.
Here it comes.
In a hyper-confrontational mood today. In Craig Wright's presentation, he made a claim that making the Lightning Network work is as hard as solving the discrete first. Are you asking questions or great? I'm asking questions. So since in Craig Wright's presentation, he argued that making the Lightning Network work is as hard as breaking a discrete log, which is absolutely false, given that for NP-hard problems, it's a widely known fact that we can need heuristic solutions that are very often almost as good in practice, which can often be done upon in real time. And he claimed that in the context of selfish mining, gamma can be less than 0, which is an absolutely nonsensical claim that makes no sense, because gamma is the percentage of the network that he is colluding with the miner, which by definition is between 0 and 1. So given that he makes so many non-sequiturs and mistakes, why is this fraud allowed to speak at this conference?
Maybe my tweet didn't do that justice. If you want to, just go grab the tweet. I mean, there was a million different retweets of it. But I got to tell you, when I saw that, I was just like, oh, no, he didn't. I mean, and again, like I said, he's the only guy in the whole industry that could call that Craig Wright guy a fraud. Anybody else who said that, they'd be like, boo, get off the stage. But I thought that was hilarious. So just on a footnote, I wonder whether your flippening and all that has much to do with that event yesterday. That's all. So, you still there with us, Mr. Bear?
Yeah, I like that. That was a great video.
Yeah. And ballsy, eh? I mean, total balls.
Nothing warms my heart better than a real fraudster being called out by a founder of a major cryptocurrency.
Yeah, and it was interesting because Vitalik's come under a lot of pressure lately. You can see people were really questioning him, and I saw people were really putting him putting him to task about POS, POW, and Ethereum and stuff. So if anything, it's kind of good that he's turning the tables and he can deflect the attention onto somebody else. But anyway. Okay, that is the top of the hour. We do have the European class here in about an hour, so I do have to go get all my dolls and dishes ready for them. Was there any? Andrew seems to be really jazzed about NuBits. I don't know whether I'm ready to declare that the NuBit slide is done yet. I still think this AB equals CD has to play itself out here, so maybe not a good idea for us to get too overly bullish about NuBits now, but for the traders of the community, we are starting to see, of course, Willie is stupid. You can see that the sellers have gone to sleep. We don't necessarily have a confirmed divergence here in momentum, which means to me probably a little bit more time to clean this thing up. But, considering the volatility of this thing and the fact that they really love to just have like 1 or 2 day spikes out of nowhere, I can understand why a guy like Andrew would be interested in this name down here. For those people that did buy through here and are just like, you know what, I just want to clean this thing up and get out, my hunch is we're probably going to revisit this block at some point here down the road. So be patient, make sure to have your orders working and just clean things up. For TRI's purposes, I'm not really in a big hurry to do anything with this thing right now. It's just yet another, hedge attempt, diversified. We're very, very well diversified in the portfolio of 250 coins. And if anything, it was just a really good anecdote of how you just can't really trust anything in this space. And if everybody's leaning one direction, better be careful. They might take the market the other direction. So I did see Andrew's comments about Newbit there in the lounge. I just think maybe we're a bit early to be calling bottoms here just yet.
Yeah, I don't like what they did to this. They broke it. This was supposed to be a reliable hedge that is supposed to be pegged at $1, and it didn't work. And I think they lost the support of the community. They lost the faith of the community. And frankly, any hedge fund manager that was using this as a hedge, it will no longer be using it. And to me, this chart just says this is going to take a long time to clean itself up.
Yeah, I would agree with that sentiment. At the same time, too, you can see that it's open to these spiky spikes. So if you want to hop off, don't panic. Just have your order working at whatever level it is that you got in, and you're just going to have to cool your jets. Really just that simple. All right. I think we'll probably leave it at that. Like I said, we've given you something to chew on here. I think we got a fucking trade here. If this thing trades up through the top here, I think there's a trade that's totally valid here. So we've given you some stuff to think about. If anything, Bitcoin, let's, just let the dust settle here. Let the New York boys put the bottom in. We know for certain that, they're done. If anything, geez, this trend line, I think probably this is, definitely now the line in the sand for Bitcoin. I like to follow the Japanese market. You can do it off of yours, but gee whiz, can you guys see how the market's respected this line? So if we can somehow hold these lows, turn back up through this line, that's going to produce a Ron Jeremy, LJ, whatever you want to call it, setup, market structure off a trend line break. But you can clearly see the market's just not ready just yet. Maybe if we're lucky over the next week or two, this comes in. But right now, we're back into just cool your jets and let the market settle and give us actually signs that it has bottomed before we start declaring bottoms. Okay, I think I'm done. You done, Mr. Bear?
Yeah, I think we gave the good people a lot to chew on this hour.
All right. You guys have yourselves a great day. We'll see the Europeans in about an hour. All the best, and bye for now.